I'm Mark.
And I'm Josh.
And this is Alter Ego Comics TV, episode number 143. I think it's 143. This week's best comics. That's what we're here to talk about. And at the end of the episode, we'll also be giving you our top 10 comic book gift ideas. So, with that in mind, let's get right to it. First off for me is, I don't know what's going on here, but it's like they're all laid out and we don't have stacks. Where's the one? Superior Spider-Man, number 23, by Dan Slott, Christos Gage, and Humberto Ramos. No surprise here, folks. Superior Spider-Man is an incredible comic that every Spider fan should be reading. I know a lot of people left when Peter Parker got ocked, and Doc Ock took over the body of Peter Parker as the Superior Spider-Man. But I'm a longtime Spider-Man fan, and I truly am appreciating everything that Dan Slott is doing with this series. He's calling back to a lot of Spider-Man history. He's not ignoring the continuity that's happened in the Spider books over decades and decades, and he's introduced a very strong supporting cast, arguably one of the strongest supporting casts in comics. And the funny thing is the cast hasn't been around that long. So you've got your traditional supporting cast in a book like Superman, like Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen and Perry White and folks like that. Well, Slott has given us a whole new group of people in Peter Parker's life and now in Doc Ock's life, or Superior Spider-Man's life, and they are three-dimensional characters. They're written very well, and they're an emotional part of the book. This was a continuation. It's part 2 of Darkest Hours, and this is the first meeting between Venom and Superior Spider-Man and Flash Thompson as Venom. And some major stuff happens in this one. It's so solid. It's one of the most consistently solid books being published, and definitely one of the top books at Marvel. Again, if you're a Spider-Man fan, there is no excuse as to why you're not reading this. That's all I have to say. I love it.
What if I'm a Spider-Man fan and I don't want to read about Doc Ock as Spider-Man? What do you have for me then?
Well, then, apparently I'll go again. We have The Amazing Spider-Man, number 700.1. All right, I take issue with the way Marvel is publishing this product, but I don't take issue with the product itself. So they're calling it 700.1 because this is a Peter Parker Spider-Man story, but it takes place at an undetermined time. Granted, it's only one issue in, and there is the possibility that this may tie in directly to what's going on in the Superior Spider-Man books, but my take with this first issue is that it's more along the lines of a Legends of the Dark Knight or Daredevil Dark Knights, kind of an anthology book where writers and artists get a chance to play in the Spider-Man sandbox and tell stories that take place at any given time, except now when Peter Parker is not Spider-Man. So this is the first of, I believe, 4 issues. It might actually be 5 issues. One a week. Is December a 5-week month? It's either 4 or 5 issues, but it's one a week during the month of December. This is written by
Tom Morrell?
No, David Morrell, with art by Klaus Janson. Okay, so David Morrell, I don't know who you are. I've never read anything by you to the best of my knowledge, but this is a really good story. Beginning to hopefully what will be a good larger story. But the artwork by Klaus Janson really gives Janson a chance to shine. This is the guy who's known primarily as an inker, and for inking Frank Miller's work on The Dark Knight Returns, for inking John Romita Jr. on a whole slew of things that he's done. But now Janson has a chance to shine as the penciler. And while not every page is super strong, he really does some nice work in here. So this takes place in November, I believe, in New York City, and who knows what year. There's a snowstorm. Peter Parker can't shake off the cold. Aunt May gets trapped in her house with no electricity, and there's a snowstorm, and it's a kind of a small story, personal story, very similar to the first chapter of Daredevil Dark Knights, I think, that Lee Weeks did. I liked it. I thought it was good.
Cool. But one of the things I'm noticing here is that it's all about continuity. It's about years of stories going on, new teams being created, new supporting characters, and I don't always want that. Some weeks, what I want is a nice one-off story with characters I already know for the most part, and that's what we get this week on 2 different occasions. The first up is Incredible Hulk Annual number 1 for the Incredible Hulk Now, written by Jeff Parker, who did a great run on the Hulk book before the Now, and drawn by Mr. Asar. There's not even a regular credits page on this one, is there? Let's go with Muhammad Asrar. This is going out to
This
you.
is must-see TV.
You're drawing good. This is a self-contained issue. All you need to know is the Hulk is still... Banner and the Hulk are still working for S.H.I.E.L.D. They've got a problem that's too big for one genius, so they bring in Tony Stark to help him out. It's very cool buddy comedy. I really like the dynamic of Tony and Bruce together, which is something Kelly Sue DeConnick covered really well in her Science Bros arc on Avengers Assemble, and it shows similar potential here. And it's just fun. I like to have a book where I don't need to know that in Iron Man 14, Tony discovered that his uncle's mother is actually...
a robot.
Yes, he's a robot.
Yes.
But it's just great to have a fun team-up book with two heroes that we already know. And in that same vein, we've got Avengers Annual, also #1 for reasons that pass beyond understanding. And this is the Avengers Christmas story. On the cover, we've got the Avengers riding a sleigh pulled by a Hulk. And it's just a lot of fun. All of the Avengers have their stuff going on at Avengers Tower and are leaving for the holidays. And it's about Cap staying alone in the tower. And it's great. Each character gets their moment to shine. All of the big Avengers are there, and it's just so much fun. It's nice, simple, untainted by continuity and having to read 600 other crossover books or know that some random alien guy blew up something. And I just like books that are fun. This one is written by Catherine Eminem with art by someone LaFuente.
David.
David LaFuente?
Yes.
All right. Way to go, David.
Oh, yeah. I really enjoy this one, too. In fact, it was a contender for Pick of the Week. Nice to have those standalone holiday stories that we don't get very often. But another point to make about this one is, to me, it felt very much like the movie Avengers. So if you're a fan of... We've given you multiple opportunities, multiple suggestions over the years. If you're a fan of the Avengers movie, where do you go in comics? Well, this is a great place to go, especially if you have a young person in your house that might want to read comics and likes the Avengers. This is a very simple, done-in-one Christmas issue that would make a great stocking stuffer. And we're back to me, I think.
Sure.
Oh, let's go with Amazing X-Men #2, The Quest for Nightcrawler, written by Jason Aaron, artwork by Ed McGuinness. This continues the quest for Nightcrawler. Part of the story takes place in heaven, part of the story takes place in hell. Jason Aaron can write X-Men until the cows come home, as far as I'm concerned. He is a very talented writer, obviously has a great deal of affection for the characters, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Ed McGuinness's artwork has grown on me over the years. It wasn't something that I really appreciated right out of the gate when he was doing Superman Batman with Jeff Loeb many, many years ago, but I really like what he's doing on this Amazing X-Men series with Jason Aaron. Fun stuff. Return of Nightcrawler, maybe. We also get another guest cameo by another dead X-Man who may be in heaven or hell. Iceman's in hell, by the way, and he's melting. He's not happy about it.
You missed the best part of this book. Flying pirate ships, attacking and sacking heaven and hell. And
wait, what's up with that? Yeah,
it's so awesome, dude. It doesn't need a reason. It's awesome.
Flying pirate ships in heaven and hell.
Raiding and... people who teleport, and you've got the crew. They're crewed by Soul's history's greatest villains. And
yeah.
Jack the Ripper and
Jack the Ripper, Flash's North Star, and then you get Billy the Kid is a
Billy the Kid was the other one with
too.
all the arms. Yeah,
it's fun. It's again what comics should be, especially a Marvel comic. It should be fun and action packed, and that's what Amazing X-Men is.
Next up, we've got a couple new #1s this week. We've got Terminator Salvation, The Final Battle.
Again.
We needed that many words on the cover. After decades of war, the beginning of the end. I'm not a huge Terminator fan. I've seen, I think, the first 2.5 movies. I got bored with the third one and turned it off. But I really enjoyed this. This is written by Joe Straczynski with art by Pete Woods. And why is his name familiar to me? What has he drawn that I liked?
He's done Action Comics. He's done other stuff.
Well, I liked it.
Primarily DC stuff.
Yeah, for the most part. So Terminator Salvation is a new Terminator story. It does tie into the continuity from the movie franchise, but you don't need to worry about it over much. All that matters is you've got John Connor fighting the future and sending people back in time. You've got Cyberdyne Systems trying to send robots back in time. But we also get a really interesting look, both from John's point of view, explaining kind of the chronology of why Cyberdyne makes the choices they do. which actually I hadn't thought about, but once he pointed out, I'm like, oh, that's kind of brilliant. And you've also got a human working for Cyberdyne, and we find out both why and what she's doing, helping them develop new Terminators, or in this case, old Terminators, depending on where you fall chronologically. And it was just a lot of fun. It was everything I wanted in a Terminator comic. It was suspenseful, it was sci-fi, there were enough references to the old franchise where they didn't dwell on it, and just a ton of fun.
Yeah, it's J. Michael Straczynski writing a science fiction story. What else do you need?
And the other new number 1 this week is from our boy Matt Fraction, with art by Olivier Coipel. And it is Inhumanity number 1. It is a one-shot that kicks off everything going on after Infinity. In Infinity, spoiler alert, plug your ears if you haven't heard this yet, our boy Black Bolt, everyone's our boy this week.
They're his boys.
And his brother Maximus the Mad blowed up Adelan and released the Terrigen mists across the planet, giving anybody with a little bit of inhuman DNA in their strands there the powers. They turn into cocoons, they get dog heads and lobster claws and whatever it is that happens when you get exposed to the Terrigen mists. And this takes us from there. What happens in a world where thousands, possibly millions of people have just randomly gained superpowers or have become lobster monsters? And it's very cool. It's told in a really interesting fashion, primarily from the point of view of a guy whose name I've forgotten with the green head.
Karnak the Magnificent.
Karnak, yeah.
Karnak. I'm Karnak. And that's how I hear him talking in my head. Hey,
my queen.
Yes. And he's got one of those twisty little mustaches.
He's Snidely
He looks
Whiplash.
like the Ringmaster.
I thought he looked like the Wizard,
He's a
just
bullet
not
head.
in purple.
Bullet head Karnak.
But it's told from his point of view, and it's very interesting both to get it from him, and we see him interacting with other Avengers and other characters that we love in the Marvel Universe. We got Hawkeye in here. It's Matt Fraction writing Hawkeye. That's all you need. Also, it's got Tony Stark. Matt Fraction coming back to his Invincible Iron Man days and writing Tony Stark. It was a lot of fun. It was, I'm not sure fun's the right word, because it was kind of dramatic.
It's a very dark, it's a dark book.
People are turning into squid monsters. It's not uplifting.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting, and in a lot of ways, I like this better than I liked the end of Infinity. So
Yeah, I mean, it was nice that I didn't have to read the rest of Infinity because I bailed out halfway through, and this recapped what happened.
Yeah, it told you what you needed to know.
Yeah, and we springboard into whatever's coming with Inhumans. And Fraction is writing a new book called Inhuman.
Is it Inhuman? Okay.
Yeah, I think J. Scott Campbell, Joe Madeira. Joe Madeira is doing the artwork on that.
Cool.
I'm all about the artwork. All right. So that's what we read. That's what we liked. Lots of cool stuff. Hit your local comic book shop, and if that's us, hopefully we'll see you soon. But we do want to give you our top 10 comic book gift ideas for the year 2013.